Hi everyone, and welcome to the Harlequin November new releases. So this is a great month because it's getting a little colder, which means you can pull out your favorite sweaters, your favorite scarves, your cute hats, and when you go outside, all of the fall leaves are down, so they make that nice little crunching sound when you walk on them. And on top of that, every coffee shop you go into has a good lineup of your favorite fall drinks. I personally would recommend the peppermint mocha, the gingerbread lattes, and of course the toasted maple lattes. Those are all amazing. Now, while you are drinking your favorite fall beverage of choice, you should also be reading a Harlequin romance novel that just came out this month. So there are way more releases than just the 6 that I am covering today, but all of these are warm, inviting, and full of promise, which is kind of like how I feel about the whole month. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa from Lisa Latte Books, and you're watching the Harlequin Books channel. Now these 6 new releases are in no particular order, but we are going to start with a fun one, which is Greek's Christmas Air by Caitlin Cruz. And in here we have Constance, who is a pregnant virgin. Yes, you heard that correctly. Constance has never had sex, but thanks to IVF and artificial insemination, she is now expecting her first baby, and happily so. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this some zany Jane the Virgin, drunken artificial insemination story? And no, it's even better than that. So, over in Greece, we have Annex, who is living and working and minding his own business, running his empire. So thanks to an ex looking for revenge, Annex finds himself the father to Constance's IVF baby. His ex actually flies all the way out to the Midwest to blackmail a fertility clinic specialist to inseminate her with Annex's sperm. And by the time Annex finds out, it is Christmas Eve. Constance is 9 months pregnant, and Annex has decided he is going to fly over to the US and woo Constance because he wants to be the best dad ever. And also, he does not want his baby born out of wedlock, so he's going to have to move quickly because when he meets her, her water has just broken. So you'll want to read this to find out if he can really pull this off: a wedding, a baby, the perfect life, because his dad was not the best and he wants to make sure he is the best dad ever to his kid. Next is A Cowboy to Remember by Stella Bagwell, which is a one-sided second chance romance between a traveling rodeo cowboy and his ex-wife. And I say one-sided because his ex-wife has amnesia. So when he is traveling for one of his rodeos, he randomly runs into her, and he has not spoken to her in 4 years, and he's like, "Hi, Willow," and she responds with, "Hey, do you know me? Because I've been trying to figure out who I am for the last 4 years because I have amnesia." So apparently there was a car accident and she was thrown from the car, ended up in the hospital in a coma, and then when she woke up, she had amnesia. And everything that could have identified her, like the VIN number on the car, the license plate, her purse, her identification, everything was burned beyond recognition. So for the last 4 years, she's been living in this random town where he is there for a rodeo, and he decides to not tell her who she really is because she now goes by Anna instead of Willow, and he really likes Anna. So Anna is everything that he wanted. So he never wanted to get the divorce. He misses his ex-wife, and here she is, and now she loves doing all the things that broke them up in the first place. She loves going to his rodeo shows every single night and loves the idea of hanging out with him, going wherever he travels to. So I totally get that. Like, I have an ex-boyfriend who loves sitting in a sports bar every single weekend, guzzling beer and watching games on the TV. And wouldn't it be great if all of a sudden I got the same guy, but on the weekends he would do weekend trips with me, or we could go shopping, or to a movie, or the bookstore, or, fun things, and not sit in a bar all weekend. I totally get it. Next is The Sheriff's Baby by Dolores Fawson, and this is a fast-paced thriller mixed in with a romance between a sheriff and the deputy who's pregnant with his baby. So in here, we have Duncan and Joelle, who are deputy co-workers, but they can't really date because, one, Joelle's dad is the sheriff, and it's not really sort of okay in the office because it's so small, so they sublimate with a lot of casual flirting, which eventually leads to a sexy night together. And the next morning, before they have any time to talk about it, they find out that Joelle's father has been murdered, And Duncan has been voted by everyone to get promoted to sheriff to replace Joelle's father. So she's in mourning. They're still trying to figure out his murder 5 months later. And in the middle of the night, it starts out, she hears a strange noise outside. She goes and she checks. She sees a car. And immediately, she doesn't recognize it. She calls dispatch. And Duncan comes over to her house. And before they even have time to talk about it, there's an explosion in her house. They run to her garage, get in the car, gun it out, and there are bullets flying at them. And then by the time they're about to make a plan, she gets a phone call from Molly, who is a coworker also at the police station, a dispatch person. And Molly says that someone's in her house. And before she can explain anymore, Molly starts screaming. And then the line goes dead. So naturally, they drive over to Molly's house. And when they get there, there is another woman in the yard, bloody, who kind of collapses. And so that is, I believe, just the first chapter. So this is the perfect book if you like fast-paced action along with your romantic suspense. Next, we have a bookish romance, which is always fun. It is Christmas at Spruce Hill Farm by Katherine Springer. And this one has all of the small town holiday romance feels to it. So in here, we have not one, but two complete romance stories built into like one world. So basically, we have Bryn, who is a super successful world-class author, and her assistant, Lucy, and both of them end up falling in love in a small town in Frosted at this historic bed and breakfast called Spruce Hill Farm. So Bryn ends up falling in love with David, who is the widower and who runs the bed and breakfast, and Lucy falls in love with Caleb, who is Bryn's son, who is just tagging along on his mom's book tour so he can see her for the holidays. Now, in the back is some book drama because Bryn has had writer's block and she hasn't been really interested in writing, and Lucy, because she is such a great assistant, finished Bryn's book for her. And there was this great new character introduced, so all the readers are totally in love, and they're wondering if there's going to be a sequel with that new great character that Lucy introduced. And Lucy does want to write. She's an aspiring writer herself, so we'll have to read this to find out how that turns out. And also, this was like the book that I never knew I wanted, because I've never read where there's four characters that share so much equal time for the two love stories, and I am actually this is my new favorite kind of romance. It was like perfect. Anyways, if you have never read a romance where there are two separate romances going on, this is definitely the book for you. It was super cute. Next is A Home for Thanksgiving by Kelly A. King, where we have another bed and breakfast that brings two people together. So Jonas has just arrived in the U.S. from London, and he is staying at Michelle's family's bed and breakfast. Now, Michelle's the only one there. Her family all live somewhere else, not very far. They run the bed and breakfast because she is still in school. She's getting her undergrad degree, but she's about to graduate. And of course, Jonas has a fun British accent. They don't really talk about it a lot, but obviously he's from London, so we'll just assume that that's the case. And he is the dean of the law school, and she is majoring in criminal justice. So some of the classes, I think, overlap, even though she's in the undergrad. And they are slowly but surely falling in love, especially because she knows so much about the department and kind of helps him to get up and going. Now, there is another person in the law school who is very jealous because he wanted to be the dean and he was not promoted to that position, and he sees the two of them falling in love. So he starts to retaliate and says that she's been cheating, which she has not been cheating. And so the two of them get together, and they have been getting together anyway, even though they kind of weren't supposed to. I guess a dean dating an undergrad might be a little questionable of a hookup, but they have bonded together over this professor who is clearly out to get both of them. So this has all the feels of the bed and breakfast and the slow romance and kind of a college feeling, as well as a sinister enemy they have in common. So I actually like this. It had a lot of different things. I don't even know where I would classify this. You get a lot of things from just this one book. And the last one is a historical romance. It is The Viscount's Christmas Bride by Bronwyn Scott. So in here we have Aurelia, who is, I kind of want to say it's a second chance romance because 7 years ago they met during the season and he very much wanted to marry Aurelia, but her dad was like, he doesn't have a title, so no. And he wanted her to hold out. And Julian was like, but I love you and we can totally make this work. But, I don't blame her. She was like 18 and she was scared. And she's like, I don't really want to leave my family. I'm not really sure. They don't really approve. So no. So this was pretty heartbreaking for Julian. And then fast forward 7 years. So at this point, Aurelia's dad is broke and even her dowry is gone. So she can't even do the seasons anymore. And Julian's family, though, is super wealthy and they have tons of money. Like, they're actually loaning out money to other people. So Aurelia's dad, needs a loan from him. So they've decided, one, he has like Airbnb'd his castle out to make money. So an American tourist came and he's like, oh, great. We have an invitation to Julian's for the Christmas holiday, which I guess is the whole month of December. They're going to spend it at Julian's place, so then they don't have to spend any money. And then in the meantime, rent out their place. And then while they are there, Aurelia's dad is like, you need to get Julian to propose again so that we can have money. And in the meantime, Julian somehow has received a title. So he didn't have a title before, and now he does have a title. So I think this will her dad thinks this will all now work out perfectly for everybody. But Julian obviously is still very sore that she said no to him before. And so she does what her dad tells her. She tries flirting, and Julian's like, you know what? I know you're broke, so stop right now. And, you didn't want to marry me before. And she's like, okay, fine. She comes clean. She's like, you're right. My dad wants me to try to get you to do a proposal. And I know that your dad wants you to also schmooze with me so that he can start loaning money out to all the wealthy people and wants my dad to introduce you to all of them. So they make a pact that they will pretend they're flirting with each other and they're courting each other and everything's going to lead up to that till Christmas. And then that's the day that they are able to go, Aurelia's family is able to go back to their house because I guess the tourists will be gone. So that's when they think the charade will end. But since they obviously have real feelings from before, I'm not sure that this fake flirting will not turn into real flirting. So you'll want to read this book to find out how that all works out. That's a wrap on some exciting new releases for November. But remember, there are many, many more. So go over to harlequin.com and check those out. And happy reading. And remember, if you like hearing about romance books, that's all we talk about on this channel. So make sure to hit the subscribe button below. We post new videos all the time. Bye.